Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take you to a whole bunch of sources, articles, notes, research, and boil it all down to the insights you actually need.
It's just stuff that matters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And today, we're tackling something you probably touch every single day, Google Calendar. But trust me, most of us are just scratching the surface.
That's so true.
Think about your week right now. Maybe it feels like a bit of a whirlwind. Meetings, tasks, personal stuff, all kind of clamoring for attention. We're going to digging into how Google Calendar can actually bring some serious, crystal clear order to all that chaos.
Yeah, and that's really our mission for you today in this deep dive. We want to help you shift beyond just, basic scheduling.
Right.
It's about truly mastering your time. So we'll explore how to use its more advanced features, things like integrated tasks, reminders, those powerful shared calendars, and even some pretty clever automations. The idea is by the end, you won't just be scheduling things, you'll be strategically organizing your whole life.
Yeah.
And that really helps reduce stress, sharpens your planning, and helps find a much better balance, between personal and work life.
I'm actually really excited about this one because it feels like it's not just about tiny tweaks. It could be a fundamental shift in how you handle your time, which is, let's face it, our most valuable non-renewable resource.
Absolutely.
So this deep dive should give you some shortcuts, really, to getting properly informed about managing time using this, well, surprisingly powerful tool. So settle in. We're about to go deep on Google Calendar.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we all think we know Google Calendar, right? But before we jump into the really powerful stuff, the cool tricks, how do we make sure our basic setup, the foundation, is actually optimized? Are there critical settings people often miss?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. First things first, you've got to confirm your Google account is syncing properly across all your devices. Your phone, tablet, computer, everything. That ensures you get real-time updates everywhere. So you're always looking at the latest version of your schedule no matter what device you pick up.
Right, no conflicts.
Exactly. Second, double check your time zone and regional settings. You'll find these in the settings menu under time zone. This is super important, especially if you deal with international calls or meetings or if you travel. Avoids those frustrating mix-ups.
Yeah, I've been caught by that before.
It happens. And finally, personalize your view. You've got day, week, month views, which are standard, but the agenda view, it's fantastic for just a quick, concise list of what's coming up, like a digestible summary of your near future.
Okay, that makes total sense. Get the basics right first. So assuming those foundations are solid, most of us use calendar for, the obvious things, meetings, appointments.
Sure.
But even with those basics, how can we use the features we already know, but maybe with a bit more impact? It's about working smarter, right? Not just harder.
Precisely. Let's take event creation. Don't just set a time and title.
Let's go deeper. Include key details, the specific location, add a description, even if it's just for yourself, and crucially, use smart notifications.
Smart notifications. You mean like multiple reminders?
Yeah, exactly. Setting multiple notifications isn't just reminding yourself. Think of it as cognitive offloading.
Yeah. Okay.
You're externalizing those time prompts. It frees up your brain power to stay focused on what you're doing right now until that specific ping. You're not constantly thinking, oh, I need to remember that meeting.
I see. So less mental clutter.
Totally. So maybe set one 10 minutes before an important appointment or maybe an hour before a meeting so you have prep time. And here's something that's a real game changer. Using colors and multiple calendars strategically.
Right. The color coding.
Yeah. It's brilliant for visual organization. Create separate calendars for different parts of your life. Maybe blue for work, red for personal, green for family activities, like our sources suggest, or maybe one for specific projects. Assigning distinct colors makes identifying what's what at a glance incredibly easy. Super intuitive.
Okay, I can see how that would clear things up visually.
And don't forget invitations and managing RSVPs. You can invite people and track their responses right there in the calendar. Really handy for team meetings or even just organizing social stuff.
That point about cognitive offload is really interesting. I hadn't quite framed it that way, the mental energy it saves. Okay, so pushing beyond that, what does this all mean for someone who really wants to, level up their time management? What are those powerful, maybe lesser-known features we should be exploring?
Right. This is where Google Calendar gets really powerful.
That's sure.
First up, integrating tasks and reminders.
Ah, yeah, I see tasks on there sometimes.
Exactly. Google Tasks shows up directly on your calendar with due dates. It makes managing your to-dos visual and totally integrated with your schedule. So if you have a task like, say, prepare presentation, you can assign it a specific date and time right there. It won't get lost.
Okay, so it's not just appointments, it's tasks too.
Yep. Then there are focus blocks. This is a feature where you literally reserve time on your calendar for dedicated, uninterrupted work, like blocking out distractions.
Precisely. Maybe block out 9 to 11 a.m. for deep work. But then the question is, how do you defend those blocks when, urgent stuff pops up?
Yeah, that always happens.
Well, that's where setting your working hours comes in handy. You set your availability in settings under working hours.
Okay.
This signals to colleagues, especially if you share your calendar, when you're actually available and when you're trying to focus. It helps protect those blocks.
Got it. So it manages expectations a bit.
Exactly. And lastly, don't underestimate the advanced search. You can find specific events using keywords, even searching within descriptions or attendee lists. Need to find that meeting you had with Juan last month? Just search Meeting Juan. Boom.
That sounds incredibly useful. Honestly, I've wasted so much time digging through old emails for meeting details. That search feature alone sounds like a huge time saver.
It really is.
So this brings up a big question. How does Google Calendar connect with all the other apps we use? Can it become like the central command center for our digital life?
It actually has remarkably robust connectivity. For virtual meetings, obviously there's the automatic Google Meet integration. You schedule an event, it pops in a video call link.
Hmm?
Super simple.
Right, that's pretty standard now.
But it goes way beyond that. You can connect it with third-party tools, things Zapier or IFTTT, to automate tasks.
Like what kind of tasks?
Well, imagine getting an email confirmation for, say, a doctor's appointment. You could set up an automation so that email automatically creates an event in your Google Calendar.
Oh, okay. That eliminates a lot of manual entry.
Exactly. It also syncs with other platforms people use daily, like Slack, Microsoft Teams, maybe Trello. So you could get notifications in Slack about upcoming meetings, or maybe calendar events could automatically update a Trello board.
Interesting.
And for just adding stuff quickly when you're on the move, Google Assistant voice commands. Just say, okay, Google, create an event for lunch with Sarah tomorrow at 1 p.m. Done. No typing needed.
That's pretty seamless. What's really fascinating here is how these features aren't just cool tech tricks. They actually support, proven productivity strategies.
Yeah.
It's not just having the tools, it's using them effectively within a framework, isn't it?
That's exactly right. And one really effective strategy is time blocking. We touched on focus blocks, but this is broader.
Okay.
It involves dividing your entire day or week into dedicated blocks for specific types of tasks. So maybe 8-9 a.m. is just for emails, 9-11 a.m. is reserved for focused creative work, 2-3 p.m. is for meetings.
So it creates like a visual roadmap for your day.
Precisely. It gives structure to what can otherwise feel like chaos. Now, you might think, my day gets interrupted constantly. How can I stick to blocks?
Yeah, that's the challenge.
Well, that's where features like setting your working hours and just the clarity of having a blocked out calendar become your allies. If colleagues can see you're blocked for deep work, they might hesitate before dropping by with a casual question.
Right, it sets a boundary.
It does. Another key habit is the weekly review. Seriously, just dedicating 10-15 minutes once a week, maybe Friday afternoon or Sunday evening, to look at the upcoming week, adjust things, make sure tasks are scheduled. It helps massively with prioritization and spotting potential conflicts before they happen.
Okay, like a little planning session with yourself in the calendar.
Exactly. And Google Calendar can even help with personal goals. You can set goals like exercise 3 times per week, and the app will actually look at your schedule and suggest times when you're free to help you fit it in.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah. And finally, don't forget recurring events. For anything regular weekly classes, team stand-ups, bill payments, set them up to repeat. Saves you tons of time compared to adding them individually every single time.
Makes sense. Connecting this to the bigger picture then, it seems like it's often about finding those small hacks, those little tricks that add up to big-time savings. What are some of those really practical quick wins that maybe the wider web community or power users really recommend?
Yeah, definitely. Based on what you see across productivity blogs, forums, and even Google's own help docs, there are some great ones. First, keyboard shortcuts.
Always good.
Seriously, learn just a few basic ones. Like C instantly brings up the Create Event window. T jumps you straight back to today's view. It makes navigating way faster.
Okay, C and T. Got it.
Second, quick event edition using natural language. You don't even need to click create, just type directly into the search bar something like dinner with Anna Friday, 8 p.m.
And it just figures it out.
Yep. Google Calendar is smart enough to parse that and create the event automatically. It's surprisingly good.
That sounds pretty cool. I'll have to try that.
Definitely. For mobile users, add a Google Calendar widget to your phone's home screen. Gives you that at-a-glance view of your agenda without even opening the app. Instant overview of your day.
Good tip.
And one more, for those times you might be without internet, the web version of Calendar, if you're using Chrome, actually has an offline mode, so you can still view your schedule even if you're disconnected.
Oh, that's handy. Okay, these are great practical tips. Now, shifting gears slightly. Beyond just your personal productivity, there's this whole collaboration aspect built into Google Calendar, isn't there? How can we really leverage that when working with others, colleagues, family, whoever?
Oh yeah, this is a massive part of its power. Shared calendars are key. You can create a calendar, say, for a specific project and share it with your team. Everyone sees the same deadlines, the same milestones. It keeps everyone aligned.
Right, so a central source of truth for the team schedule.
Exactly, and you have really fine-grained control with custom permissions. When you share, you decide what people can do. Can they only see if you're free or busy? That's the see only, free, busy, hide details option.
Yes.
Or do you want them to be able to see event details or even make changes to events? You control that level of access for each person you share with.
That's crucial for privacy, especially if you mix work and personal calendars.
Absolutely vital. And for things that are more public, maybe you run classes or workshops or community events, you can actually publish a calendar. This generates a link anyone can use to view the calendar without needing a Google account or specific permission. Great for broadcasting schedules.
Okay, that makes sense for broader sharing. Of course, adopting all these new features and strategies, it's powerful, but it probably comes with a few potential hurdles, right? What are some of the common challenges people might face when they try to implement these deeper uses of Google Calendar?
That's a fair point. It's not always smooth sailing immediately. Firstly, just adopting new functions like really getting into Google Tasks or setting up those automations with Zapier can take a little time to get used to them. There's a bit of a learning curve initially.
Sure, new habits take effort.
Exactly. And like any system, maintaining discipline is key. The calendar is only as good as the information you put into it and how regularly you review it, so you need that commitment.
Right, got to keep it updated.
Then there's the risk of overload. It's easy to get carried away and schedule every single minute. That can actually lead to more stress. You need to prioritize and leave some buffer room for, life happening.
Good point. Avoid overscheduling.
Yeah. And with shared calendars, privacy is a big one. You really need to be mindful of setting the right permissions so you don't accidentally share personal details you didn't intend to.
Double check those sharing settings.
Definitely. And finally, connecting with those third-party tools like Zapier might require a little bit of technical comfort, understanding basic automation concepts. But honestly, the payoff in time saved can be huge once you get it set up.
Okay, good things to keep in mind.
So wrapping up our deep dive here, the big takeaway is that Google Calendar is so much more than just a digital planner. It's a really integral, pretty powerful tool for managing your time and collaborating effectively. By really mastering those core functions, exploring the advanced stuff like tasks, focus blocks, working hours, and then applying strategies like time blocking and automation, you really can transform how you organize your entire life. The key, as we've sort of discussed, is making it personal to you, integrating it well, and keeping up that consistent review.
And when you start putting these things into practice, it really isn't just about being more productive, is it? It's about cutting down on that stress, that feeling of being overwhelmed that comes with juggling so much. Imagine the mental space you could free up.
Exactly.
So here's a little challenge for you listening. What's just one new Google Calendar feature or strategy you'll try out this week? Maybe it's finally setting up those different colored calendars, or perhaps trying time blocking for just one important task. Pick one thing.
Start small.
Yeah, start small. And ultimately, here's something to think about. If mastering your time really does free up that mental bandwidth, what new passion or project, or maybe some learning you've been putting off, what might you finally have the space to actually embark on?
Good question.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We look forward to unpacking whatever sources you want us to explore next time here on the Deep Dive.